Okay, so the past 2 classes that I've done, which will be available at some point on the back of the website, we're just working on that, have been based around the lungs. So there are a series of 3. So the first one was developing lung capacity, where we did a type of breath. And then yesterday we did one which again used that hand movement, and I talked a little bit about the phrenic nerve, which I need to spell correctly. I missed the I out yesterday. So it's PHRENIC, the phrenic nerve, which starts in the neck, comes down through the heart, and it stimulates the diaphragm. So today's class, we're going to look more about the diaphragm. So the great classes to do one after the other. And, you know, we're due to the virus, one of the things we need to really take care of is our breath capacity. So I'll just give you a little bit of technical stuff and then we'll start the class. So what's interesting about when we really start to work with the diaphragmatic breath, so often we'll put our hands here for diaphragmatic breath, but the diaphragm is actually here. So it's kind of where the ribs are. And thank you, my assistant. So when we're in the belly, which is the 3rd chakra, we're sometimes it's called the belly of the beast, this chakra, and it's a gut sense of me, so it's all about me. And then when we move upwards into the heart space, through the diaphragm, it becomes much more transpersonal, so we get a better sense of we, so a collective understanding of people. And the physical area, so I was going to get my spine out, not my personal spine, but my spine that lives in a box. But basically, this area can be located on the back. So you've got your lumbar vertebra, and L1 is about here. And then you get the 12th thoracic vertebrae. And it's at that point that we move into this transpersonal place where we connect to others more freely and with more empathy. So we're going to be working on holding the ribs, feeling the space around the rib cage, and maybe using a little bit of sound as well. So one of the things I wanted to do was to start with a really beautiful poem I think it might have just come out. So it was given to me by one of my best friends, who's a midwife in Derbyshire. So I thought I'd start with this, such a beautiful poem. So just close your eyes for a moment. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Good, and let's join together with 3 ohms before I read you the poem. So take a nice deep breath in. So this is a poem by an American poet called Kitty O'Meara. And the people stayed at home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated and some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed of new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth as they had been healed. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of hoping that that might be the case when we move forwards from what's happening at the moment. So let's bring our hands to the side of the body. So either sitting cross-legged, legs straight, or back like this, whatever feels most comfortable for you. We'll just work with this motif of breath where we're increasing lung capacity for a few breaths. So inhale and pause. Inhale and pause. Inhale and pause. A nice long exhale. Good, and again, inhale and pause. Inhale. Inhale. Last one. Good. Now let's just move into the ribs a bit more so we sense the diaphragm a bit more. So whichever hand you want to raise first is fine. So we're going to inhale. Good. Now exhale, tip the hand behind the head. You know, focus your awareness to the ribs, to the one side of the lungs a bit more. Lovely, and breathe deeply. Lovely, come all the way up. Exhaling, let's go the other way. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hand behind the head. Move from the elbow. Let your awareness move into the rib area. Lovely, and release. So for the last movement of the breath, let's bring the hands behind us. Draw the shoulders back. Lift the head slightly. So be careful if you've got neck problems. Keep the gaze forwards if the neck's fine. Take the head back and breathe as if you're coming down to the belly. So it pulls the sheet of the diaphragm down. Nice deep abdominal breath. So sometimes the abdominal breath is known as the diaphragmatic breath. Lovely, and slowly come back up. So I'm going to make the sound for the diaphragm just to stimulate that area in the body. So bring the thumb and the index finger together to create chin mudra. So remember, we've also covered a little bit that this, the thumb is the lung meridian and the index finger is the large intestine. So these two meridians are connected in Chinese acupuncture. So bring the loop to the groin and we'll do the R sound, 3 R's, which will stimulate and vibrate the base of the diaphragm. So take a deep breath in. Good. And just see if you can sense the diaphragm. So Our awareness of the diaphragm is usually from inferred movements because it's a muscle that's within us rather than one we can physically feel. So we feel it by the movement of the breath down near the belly. Good. So we're going to come down to the floor. So make sure you've got a belt handy. Dressing gown belt, fine. A pair of socks. Just something to give you a little bit of extra reach. So let's do some warming movements first, just to get the body and the mind in the right space. So hands at the side of the body to start with. And as you inhale, let the pelvis rock away. So you should all be familiar with this movement now. Exhale, draw the navel in. So let's pay more attention to the diaphragm. So as you inhale and the pelvis rocks away, that action of inhaling is pulling the diaphragm down. Exhale. Good, now let's increase the movement even more by adding in the arm movement. So as you inhale, let the pelvis rock away and the arms sweep over. And exhale. So we're just going to add a little bit of focus of that third chakra, so the chakra that we move from, which is the me place, generating some heat at the navel. So as you next exhale, bring the right knee towards you and just reach the hands towards the foot, so you're squeezing the tummy muscles. Inhale, sweep the arms over. Exhale, left knee. Be aware of this sense of our awareness moving from the me at the navel to the we at the heart space. You know, I want you to keep this movement going if you've got any problems in the back. Okay, if you want to go a little bit deeper, we're going to exhale and bring the leg up. Inhale, let it lower. Exhale, left leg. Inhale. Make sure you push the heels away. Draw the toes to the face so you activate the hamstrings, warm the back of the legs. If you want something in between those movements, then try lifting the leg a little higher but keeping the knee bent. Good, and release. Let's bend the knees, take them nice and wide. So again, we'll do the movements that work on the diagonal fascia sheaths of the body. So bringing the left palm to face up and the right palm to face down. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, turn the gaze to the left and the knees to the right. So you're always looking towards the upturned hand. Inhale back to center, rotate the hands. Exhale, knees left, head right. Gonna close your eyes. Attention on the breath. Check whether you can feel the lift of the belly. So you know when the belly is lifting upwards that you're activating the diaphragm as the sheath of the muscle pushes down towards the visceral organs. So diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing is really important for the health of the rest of our body's systems, especially the liver, spleen, the intestines, the digestive system. So just breathing into the belly. Good, back to center. So let's just stimulate the phrenic nerves. Remember the previous class, we talked about the phrenic nerve. Bring the left hand behind the head. So this movement's also good for the diagonal fascia. So we're going to just stretch the neck. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, right knee in. Bring the left elbow to the outside. Inhale. And exhale. Good, let's switch sides. You might find that my breath is very deep on this side because my microphone is just near my nose as I come up. Lovely, and release. Okay, so let's bring both knees towards us and circle the knees in opposite directions, paying attention to how that feels for the lower back, how it feels in the hips. Checking that the breath is dictating the speed of the movement, so it should be nice and slow. Change directions. Good. Now keep the hands on the shins, take a breath in, and as you exhale, let's lift into coil. Inhale to lower, sweep the arms over. Exhale, push up into bridge. Inhale to lower. Exhale back into coil. Inhale. Exhale. Gonna just place the feet down this time. Keep the hands underneath. So going to move into bridge with the hands supporting us underneath the back. So if this doesn't work because you've got tight shoulders, you could pop a book or a cushion underneath you, or you can take the position with the arms overhead. So this one really stimulates the diaphragm because we're going to hold at the ribs near the diaphragm. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, slowly push up. Lift the frontal hip bones towards the ceiling. Good. So we're going to roll our weight onto the left upper arm. So we bring the right one off the floor, and then we're going to tuck that right arm under as much as we can. Then do the same. So roll the weight onto the right arm, and then tuck the left one under. So for some of you, this might be difficult because the shoulders are tight. And if that's the case, sweep your arms over and hold that position. Maybe pop a book underneath your bottom. So we're going to go a little bit deeper if it suits the body. We're going to lift onto the tiptoes. Bend your elbows. Now bring your thumbs into the lower back. Wrap the fingers to the side of the waist. And then slowly sink the heels. And start to do a deep abdominal breath. Gonna close your eyes. Be aware of this sensation of the lungs filling with air. And as you inhale, there's a pressure pushing in towards the visceral organs, and that's the diaphragm. This type of breathing is also really good for the vagus nerve. Stimulates the solar plexus, which is around here. Good, one more breath. Good, now slowly roll down. Good, and just settle the body to the floor. So we're going to take our belts and warm our legs properly, and we'll use an additional position in this class to stretch the thigh out, which when you extend the arm as well, it really stretches the whole of the torso to include the diaphragm. So place the belt on the ball of the right foot. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, draw the leg towards you. So remember, the knee can be bent. What you don't want to have is a straight leg and the leg about here. That's not really doing anything at all. So if that's the case, because you've got tight hamstrings, it looks like that. Bend the knee. Keep bringing it in, because you need to access the hamstring. You're going to settle your attention to the breath. Breathe from the nose to the navel. So as you breathe down into the body, you're activating that lovely circular sheet of muscle, which is the diaphragm. It looks a bit like a little parachute that lowers and comes back up into the body as you breathe. Good. Now we're going to take the belt to the right hand, wrap it if you've got a soft belt. Okay. Left arm out to the side. Let's the left knee roll out to the side. Remember to keep the right knee bent if you need to. And as you exhale, slowly bring the leg out. Now again, pay attention to that image in the mind of the diaphragm. So remember, because we can't feel the diaphragm muscle, we can only associate with it by the inferred movements of everything else around it. So focus on the nose, inhale, bring that energy down. Feel how that movement is pushing the belly up. And you can feel a massage on the visceral organs. Now that is created by the diaphragm. Exhale out along the leg. Lovely, come all the way back up. Let's bring the belt into the left hand, straighten out the left leg. So we're going to use the version where we bring the leg across fully. So start with the knee bent. Let's come across the body, extend the right arm out. So what you'll find in this position, because we're twisting, there's a pressure on the left side of the body, and the diaphragm is more active on the right side where the liver is. So if the liver is a bit tight and a bit hard, you'll feel there's a bit more of a resistance on this side. So when our visceral organs are healthy, they should glide across each other and they're a bit softer. Lovely. Now bring the leg back up. So either use your belt to bring the knee down into this position so the lower leg remains vertical, the sole of the foot faces the ceiling, or if you've got the reach, bring the right hand up to the inside, hold the heel. You can either rebend the left leg like I have or keep it straight, that's your choice. Now bring your hand to just above the navel. And breathe deep towards the hand so you're actively engaging the diaphragm. So remember, the diaphragm is this gateway between the third and fourth chakra. And the third chakra, remember I said right at the beginning of class, is where we're more associated with me, I, and then we move upwards into the heart, which is much more transpersonal, where we are aware of other people in our world and our relationship with them and how we affect others. Lovely. Now extend the leg all the way up. Draw the tummy muscles in, and as you exhale, slowly lower the leg under control. Once the leg's down, take a deep breath in. And exhale the length of the right leg. Just take a moment to observe the changes, the differences in the sides, being mindfully aware of the effect of the practice. And then bend the leg. We'll go to the other side. So just warm the legs before we do the thigh muscle. Okay, so left leg. Again, breathe in from the nose to the navel. Feel the belly lift. Exhale out along the left leg. So if you really focus inwards, you'll notice that when you inhale consciously to the belly, you also get a sense of the diaphragm and its play against the ribs, either side. Also the lower back near the kidneys. It's very subtle. See if you can tune into the diaphragm moving down into the visceral area as you inhale. Good. Now let's take the belt to the left hand only. Double wrap if you're able to. Right arm out to the side. Let the knee roll out to the right. Slowly extend the leg out to the left. Keep the breath moving downwards, engaging the energy of the diaphragm. Good. Come back to center. Belt into the right hand. Either keep the right leg bent or straighten it. No choice. Bring the leg across. So see if you can sense the subtle shift of the diaphragm now. So as we come into the twist, the energy predominates in the left side of the lung. And as we inhale and the diaphragm pushes downwards, it's stimulating the pancreas and the spleen. Good. Now bring the leg back to center. Either using the belt to draw the leg down so that the knee comes towards the side of the body, lower leg remains vertical, or left hand reaches up to on the inner edge to the heel, and either keep the right leg straight or bend the leg. Now hand to the belly. So remember, although we say belly breathing, we place the hand to the belly so that we can consciously breathe into the diaphragm, which is actually higher. It's around here. So just really engage the mind into the diaphragm. If you imagine with your eyes closed that your awareness is like a searchlight, and it's going down into the body and it's illuminating the internal environment. You're seeing down through the lungs. And as you inhale, there's this like balloon type material that's expanding away from your awareness towards the belly. And one more breath. Lovely. Now extend the leg up. Engage your tummy muscles. Slowly lower the leg as you exhale. Good. And be aware of the sensations in the left side. And we're going to rebend our legs. Okay, so now we're going to use reclined half hero pose to work the psoas muscle at the top of the thigh, which in turn, as we extend the arms, creates this bigger space for the diaphragm and the lungs to work. So hop the right foot out to the side of the mat. So for some of you, the movement is going to look quite small. You might be about there because you'll have tight quad muscles. So this might be enough. Or you're going to roll the knee down towards the floor. And then be very careful with the next movement. So if your knee is nowhere near the floor, you shouldn't even be attempting this next movement. The next movement is hold your toes, pull them back, and pop the heel to the side of the hip. Okay, now everybody just push up with the left foot so the bottom leaves the floor, and scoop your tailbone forwards and then slowly release the bottom down. So it just allows the lower back to lengthen. So it affects the back section of the circle of the diaphragm, or the circumference. Now we're going to extend the right arm overhead. Take a deep breath in as if you're breathing into the fingertips. Feel the diaphragm pulling down, and then as you exhale, push the breath down the right thigh as if it's coming out through the kneecap. And we can have the right hand in chin mudra to activate the lung and the large intestine meridian. Focus inwardly. Use the mind, the awareness like a searchlight. Feel how active the right lung is. Good. Now carefully release the hand. Release the leg. Let's just squeeze the leg in just to counterbalance that. So that movement creates a slight back bend. So we're just releasing the lower back. And let's go to the other side. So now hop the left foot out. Bring the heel a little bit higher up towards the outer hip. And then roll the knee down. So remember, the knee might not be going very far. Do not force it. And then if you want to go deeper, pull the toes back and rest the heel near the hip. So you'll find sides are different. So many, many years ago when I was very small, I broke my left leg and shattered my ankle. And this left leg is much tighter than the right because of the way my body's grown, I guess. So left hand into Chin Mudra. Inhale, sweep the arm over. Good. Now as you exhale, let the awareness travel down through the left thigh and out through the knee. Feel the breath. If you want to, you can use the right hand on the belly to get the breath down into the diaphragm. Visualize the left side of the lungs, lovely white light filling the lungs. Good. One more breath. Lovely. And carefully release. Let's bring the knees towards us and rock from side to side. Good. Now remember to keep this sideways motion, if that's enough for your back and neck, or along the spine. Inhale to rock up. Exhale to roll back. Good. And let's come all the way up. Excellent. Time check. Whew. Okay. So let's come round into cat. And let's inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, navel back, chin to chest. So we use this movement nearly every class. And we can create different types of focus. So we've worked between the shoulder blades. We can work near the collarbones. This time I want you to work at the belly. So with your awareness at the navel, especially as you inhale. So you get that sense of the diaphragm pulling down. Good. Now let's step the right leg through. So padding up the left knee if you need to. So remember, you can do a shorter lunge if that suits your back, or the longer lunge if you want to move into the front of the thigh. Careful with the back. So we're going to bring our palms to our ribs. So if you remember at the beginning of class, we located this point in the spine where the the lumbar vertebrae 1 meets the 12th thoracic vertebrae, and that is where the diaphragm is at the back, and at the front it's around about here at the breastbone. Good, now just breathe. And I want you to actually just lightly push the palms of the hands into the ribs. So there's a slight resistance, so you have to work to get the breath in. So we're lifting on an energetic level our awareness from me to we into the heart space to incorporate other people in our decisions, in our impact on other people. So be aware of lifting attention into the heart space. Good. Now let's move the hands behind the back. See if you can breathe into the hands now at the back. Good. Now the next movement, we're going to bring the arms up and we're going to grab the hands. Going to be aware of breathing down to the belly, so you feel the movement of the diaphragm, the inferred movement with the energy pushing down into the visceral organs. Good. Now keep the left hand behind your head, drop the right hand. So if you have a book with you, then you can bring the hand to the book if the hand doesn't touch the floor. So some people it will. So my body proportions are shorter legs and a longer torso. So it makes it very easy for me to touch the floor like this. Good. Now concentrate on the left side as we breathe into it. On the diaphragm. Pulling down. Pushing into the pancreas and the spleen. So the pancreas is quite big. It's small at the front. The spleen is further back, smaller, like the size of an apple. Good. Come back up. Let's release the hands. We're going to go back into swan. So remember, if you have problems in the knees, then you can always pop a pillow underneath just to create less pressure inside the knee. I'm going to come right onto the fingertips again. So yesterday's class, or the second one in this series, we focused on the armpits. Now I want you to focus on the back of the body. So close your eyes, and as you breathe in, feel the diaphragm moving on that back section of the arc of the diaphragm. So the diaphragm is a big circular muscle. Feel it pulling down near the back of the ribs into the kidneys, stimulating the kidneys and the adrenal glands. Good, come back up. Okay, so we're going to step the left leg forwards now. Padding up the right knee if you need to. Bringing the foot further back if you want a smaller lunge or a deeper lunge. Okay. Palm the ribs again. So remember, the diaphragm comes all the way around. Let's bring our awareness to the hands. Close our eyes. Now push the hands slightly into the ribs, so you have to breathe hard to exercise the rib cage area and the diaphragm. Slightly pushing in with the hands, breathing into the hands. So resistance training for the diaphragm. Good. Now hands to the back on that same line. Push the hands into the back if you're able to. Good. Last breath. Good. Now bring the hands up, cross them over. Focus on breathing down into the belly to get the diaphragm, the whole sheet of the diaphragm to work properly as it draws downwards. Good. Now lowering the left hand, so using a cushion or a book or something, or a brick if you've got a yoga brick at home. If you need that extra lift, or just hand to floor. You know, bring your attention into the right side of the torso. And as you breathe in, feel the resistance of the diaphragm as it pushes down into the liver. Good, and release. And let's step back. Come back into swan again and focus on the back of the body. Breathe to the ribs. The back portion of the diaphragm. Good. Inhale to come up into cat. Exhale, downward facing dog. So we're going to do two different types of breathing here in down dog. So let's bend the knees. So let's activate the circular area from the front ribs to the back ribs. So I want you to pull your tummy muscles in. So you actually stop the diaphragm from pulling down, and we'll work the thoracic breath a bit more. So the tummy is in, and we're breathing to the ribs. Good. Now relax the tummy. Breathe into it. So you get a very subtle change. You can feel the difference between the ribs moving when we're breathing, so the thoracic breath, and the diaphragmatic breath. Good. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, push back. Good. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now this time, softening the back of the knees if you need to. We're going to walk our hands towards the feet and slowly roll up. Inhaling. Exhaling. Okay, so standing in Tadasana, hands to the ribs again. So push the hands into the ribs. So you're creating this resistance, and now we've got to use the breath to expand the rib cage. So we did this in the lunge position. So eyes closed. Really exercising the diaphragm. Good. Now I'm going to do the bronchial mudra, which we introduced yesterday. So listen carefully. Hopefully you can see it clearly from there. So the index finger stays pointing. We bring the middle finger to the tip of the thumb. We bring the ring finger to the middle part of the thumb, and the little finger to the fleshy part at the base of the thumb. Okay, so this is the bronchial mudra. So I'll just show you. You can see that there. Is that clear? Great. So standing in Tadasana, keeping the hands in the bronchial mudra. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Good, now hold. Make sure you're not throwing the back like this. We're staying upright. Breathing down to the belly. So this mudra is particularly good if you have asthma. It's really good if you're recovering from any sort of lung infection. Just stay focused on the breath. Good, now keeping the hands in the mudra, I want you to tip the left hand down the back. I'll show you from behind. Bring the right hand across. You've still got the mudra. And you're going to exhale. Breathe into the ribs. Back to center, extend. Exhale. So feeling the effect of the breath down on this side, on the right side. Good, come all the way back up. Good, release the hands, keep them in the mudras. So remember, it can be really hard work holding the hands in mudras, and that's the whole point of it. So when we use mudras, we're literally doing yoga. So come to the back of the mat. We're going to work into a warrior one position, keeping the hands in this mudra. Turn the left toes out, step forwards on the right foot, take a nice wide stance. And then find your position so that you get that front knee bent. Make sure that it's not coming over the ankle and that this back foot is pushing the heel to the floor. We're going to inhale, hands out to the side. Inhale all the way up. Exhale. Hands stay in the mudra. Inhale. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. And again, breathe in. Breathe in. One more. Good, now keep the hands as they are. I'm going to wiggle the right foot across so that now the front heel bisects the back arch. Coming into warrior two, hands still in the bronchial mudra. Good. Now I want you to drop the back hand, the left hand. We're going to straighten the front leg and bring the right hand just down so the fingertip touches the thigh. We've still got the hands in the mudra. We're going to slowly slide over. So if you really need to, we can bend the knee, remember? So coming into a triangle, it's quite a strong triangle, so do be careful. Bend the knee if you need to. Roll the head of the left arm bone back, feel it open. Hands still in the mudra. Good, and if you want to go deeper, extend the arm up. Maybe in line with the ear. Feel the pull of the diaphragm down into the pancreas and the spleen on the left side. Good, now we're going to bend the front knee, release the mudra, come into a lunge. Good, now let's step back into plank. Strong tummy. Drop the knees if you need to soften the movement. Come all the way down. So we're going to use Sphinx pose because the curve that you get in the back is really near that junction at the T12, so thoracic 12 and lumbar 1. So bring the left elbow and the right elbow directly under the shoulder. So that's not back, it's directly under. So you've got this right angle at the forearm. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Now relax your bum. And as you inhale, press down through the hands and pull the spine forwards. Lift the gaze. Now close your eyes and focus on the belly and breathe into it. So as well as feeling the sensation of the belly pushing into the floor and the diaphragm pulling down, feel this contact here in this curve. As you breathe. Diaphragm pulling down. And then as you exhale, it's pushing up. As the navel draws away from the floor. Inhale, the diaphragm pulls down. Good. Now, those of you with tender backs, do not do the next movement. If you want to go deeper and it's safe for you, so only you know that, okay, I can't see what you're doing, so be very careful. Bring the hands out to the corner of the mat. This one's called seal pose, so it's just a bit deeper. Be very careful. Push up. And feel that sense of lifting from the belly to the heart. Lovely. Slowly release. Bring the hands under the shoulders and let's push back into down dog. 3 deep belly breaths here with the knees slightly bent. So we're activating the diaphragm, pulling down. Good. Walk the hands towards the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale down through the midline. Lovely. So we're going to go the other way. So I'm actually going to walk to the other side of the mat so it's easier to show you. So we're going to step forwards with the left leg. Right toes rolling out. And we'll bring the hands back into the bronchial mudra. So remember, index finger points. Index finger points. You've got the middle finger to the thumb, the ring finger to the third section, at the middle section of the thumb, and the baby finger to the fleshy part of the thumb. It looks a bit like a conch shell. Excellent. Okay, so hands in that mudra. Left leg forwards. Inhale. Exhale. So let's do the staged breath. Inhale. Inhale. Hold with the breath at the top. Exhale. And again, breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe out. And again, breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe out. You're now going to extend the arms up and hold. Good, release the hands, but keep them in the mudra. Now wiggle the left foot across, so it's in line with the front foot. Arms out, still in the mudra. Warrior two. Drop the back hand, straighten the front leg if it suits your back. So remember, if you're tender there, triangle with the knee bent. Left hand down, just rest the hand there. Roll the right shoulder back. Now keep the hand there if that feels enough, or extend it up. And then maybe extend the arm in line with the ear. So concentrate on holding the mudra as well. So it's drawing energy to the bronchioles inside the lungs. Good, bend the knee, release the hands. Let's step back into plank. Drop the knees here if you need to and lower. And again, positioning the arms for Sphinx pose. So elbows directly under the shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Good, now be aware of that junction point in the spine. Pull the spine forwards and up. Close your eyes, breathe deep into the belly. Lifting our awareness of energy and our spiritual self from the belly to the heart, where we encompass relationships with others. Good, rolling the hands out if you want to go a bit further, bringing yourself into seal pose. Lovely, and release. Let's push back into swan, ease out our backs. Onto your fingertips, concentrate on the back ribs as you breathe. Deep breath in, feel the ribs and the diaphragm, that sense of movement outwards and downwards. Good, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Walk the hands towards the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way out. Feet go a little bit wider. Exhale down. Lovely, and release down to the floor. So find a comfortable sitting position. Running a little bit late tonight, so you might just need to go straight to bed. So we're just going to do a breath practice, which the past couple of sessions that have been based around lung focus, we've done Veloma, which is the staggered breath. This one, we're actually going to do a practice which is just simply called diaphragm breathing. So I want you to bring the hands into the bronchial mudra again. So index finger points up, middle finger comes to the thumb, ring finger comes to the midway thumb, and the little finger, if it wants to, goes down into the fleshy part, which I do believe is called the Venus mound, perhaps. Good. Now fingers point. Close your eyes. Now breathe down into the body. Good. Now I want you to focus all your attention, if you're able to, on the left nostril. So this is the lunar channel. Focus on the left nostril. And as you breathe into the left nostril, let your attention go down into the left lung and towards the pancreas on the left and the spleen. And notice if there's any resistance there or any tenderness. Notice the texture of the breath as it moves down into that side of the body. Good. Now shift your attention to the right nostril. And be aware of the movement of energy coming from the right nostril down into the lung. And that gentle push down to the liver. So the liver is on the right side. Notice any differences? Good. Now focus at the tip of the nose and let your attention flow equally down through both sides. Now shift your awareness towards the back of the diaphragm, near the kidneys, the ribs at the back of the body. Lovely. And release the hands completely. So it's just a very simple practice of awareness on the diaphragm. So let's come down to the floor, popping on some layers if you need to. So we're going to do the heart meditation that we did yesterday. So make sure you're nice and warm. Bend the knees if you need to. So remember, if you're working with the knees bent, thank you, then let the weight of the knees rest against each other so that it switches off the tension at the base of the psoas muscle. So with the eyes closed, it's bringing your attention to the breath at the tip of the nose. I want you to follow the breath from the nose to the navel. And be aware of the breath like a wave, a deep swell in the ocean. Inhaling, that wave starts to rise and increases its energy. And then exhale, it releases and moves on. So just be aware of that wave-like movement of the breath. The rise and fall of the breath like the vast ocean waves. Lovely. Now bringing your attention to the physical heart. So it's really quite central, although it slightly tilts to the left of the chest. And visualize the heart like a buoy. So like when a fisherman tries to find his nets, he'll use a buoy in the sea. So the heart's like a heart-shaped buoy, and it's floating on this ocean of breath, which represents our mind. And the heart is very bright. It's shining like a beacon. So as we breathe in and out and we feel this wave like a vast ocean, the heart is a beacon that draws us home. And in this beacon, be aware of this thumb-sized being enshrined in the heart. Ruler of time, past and future, our true nature. And this light that shines in the heart is ever present. It is the ever-present awareness that observes our human life. Continue to focus on the wave-like rhythm of the breath and the heart floating in the ocean. And sense the vastness, the fathomless presence of this heart ocean, the ever-present awareness. And allow the thoughts of yesterday, thoughts of today and tomorrow to come and go like waves on the surface of this vast ocean. Be aware of the energy of these waves. Each thought, each emotion has different energy frequencies. Notice them. Notice how they affect this ocean. And this observing presence, the heart floating on this ocean. Be aware of all the sensations and perceptions, the thoughts, simply as waves moving in this vast ocean. And don't be consumed by them. Just let them simply dissolve back into the ocean. Be aware of the moving thoughts, simply as the ocean. And this presence at the heart space is the observer of the thoughts. And with your attention focused on this beacon, this light at the heart, just repeat silently to yourself, I am the ever-present awareness. I am the ever-present awareness. Be aware of the deep stillness. Be aware of the inner silence. And the sense of space. Take a deep breath in. And exhale with a sigh. Wiggle fingers and toes. Let the knees come towards you. Rolling over to one side. And coming back up to sitting. Bringing the hands to the heart space. So let's just finish the practice with the Tibetan prayer, which kind of matches the poem that I started the class with. By the power and truth of this practice, may all beings find happiness and the causes of happiness. May all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may all live in equanimity without too much attachment or too much aversion, and live knowing in the sacred happiness which is sorrowless. And namaste. So for that, there was a few people who arrived a little bit late. So I read a poem at the beginning of class, and I just want to reread it. So this is a very modern poem. I'm not sure when this poet, Kitty O'Meara, posted the poem. I think it's actually very recent. And the people stayed at home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still. And listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed of new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth as they had been healed.